Map number 1 went the way of MVP as they make that comeback happen. 16-14 on the map pick of GOSU. And now we prepare to head on into Nuke. Obviously, this is one statistically been very, very kind to the MVP guys thus far. And, you know, will history repeat itself here, Hugo? Or do you think GOSU have what it takes to bring it back here in the second map?
I hope they've done some preparation, because I can imagine if you're GOSU, you would expect this map to come through in a veto, especially, you know, on LAN where it really, you know, pressure really is on, and this is qualification for the major, and MVP have had so much success on Nuke in the past. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see GOSU have a little bit up their sleeve, but as we've already talked about in history, GOSU have not had the best of time against MVP on this map. They've had a lot of dominant losses, a couple of close ones in the mix, but yeah, it's down to how much prep they've done more than anything. So we have to wait and see. We can't have too much expectation, I don't.
Yeah, that's at least one silver lining, right? Is if you look at like how these teams have played each other a lot, as well as that trading players like not too long ago, you are going to have at least a very good benchmark to go off if you're GOSU as to how MVP like to approach this map. And that's something that I'm wondering if maybe, if they've done their homework, if they've put in their research, that could lead them to potential upset victory in a moment where MVP are undoubtedly the favourites.
Yeah, the issue is, if I thought there was going to be an upset, I would have called it on the previous map. And,
right.
And that, almost went their way, but fell apart at the end. Betway odds you can see favouring MVP, and after that first map, I do not blame them. But let's see. I really hope GOSU can surprise us here. Even if they can't, they've done a great job of challenging and rivaling MVP so far in this series. And let's see if that can continue as we head into map number 2. CT start for GOSU, definitely going to be the make or break as we see a fast A execute for MVP.
Yeah, smoked out to cover that approach. HSK and Lake, they're making quick work of this. HSK, where did that come from? He decimates his old team and he makes it look casual. Stacks him up in the heaven, going to finish things off. But HSK, what a beast.
Yeah, what a pistol round, right? They check the position, but he has Lakia covering him from main. He finds 2, 3 in the end of the round, and locks down the A site on that fast push. So
I'm wondering if they got in to our hidden supply of ESL's patented Magic Miller's Go Faster juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? Really get yourself pumped up before the game. Either that or, game fuel is always an option. It's a little bit of dew. Mountain Dew, obviously. I don't mean anything else.
Like winter,
yeah, it felt really weird.
He goes, finds grass, and then pulls off the water. Would you like some dew?
It'd be like nice and fresh tasting at least, but yeah.
You'd have to get a lot of grass to get a lot of dew. So, our dew is grown naturally in the woods of Katowice. But it's not the woods where these guys are playing. However, it is Katowice. MVP on the force buy for the second round.
I'm glad you reassured us on that one.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have these guys.
They're inside.
But yeah, they are. We've provided that. And the venue stays open past 9. It's amazing, right?
Now, who does that?
Here is the push down towards Secret and Ramp by the looks of things. Looking like MVP want to try and fixate at this B-bomb site. That seems to be the end goal. Seok's already rotated in, though. Ooh. He's actually going to get picked up, and now this puts pressure on Stacks. He pulls away, and as he does so, the other players for MVP turning their attention towards Ramp. You need to have this hole between HSK and Stacks stand the test of time. And while they found one, they're not ready for Zine, who is now in the back. He's behind them, and he could find both kills. Indeed he is, and that there is showing the strength of that man on that wrap round. Why exactly we were highlighting him so much. Jinx and Lakia left to try and hold on to a round that really GOSU had no business giving away.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't expect that split, right? Especially with a slow push down on B, but GOSU not ready for the flank on the backline, and Zine finds 2. That's a huge individual effort, a force by win. Another crucial factor of that round is GOSU had no utility really past the 10-20 second mark, so they had the nades for the early rush, but there was no early rush, so definitely came back to hurt them. However, now they do have some nades, Harry, 4 of them. Likely going to see this outside nade stack. Although, if they surprise me with something else, I'm happy with that as well. Let's see what GOSU have got for us. It's just these standard outside nades. Might catch Solo here, who is very aggressive. They're delaying these nades for a reason. And actually, they go towards a silo. Unfortunately, no one's there. They definitely could have killed Solo if they threw them in the more standard position. In the meantime, because of this quad nade stack, MVP know the ramp is likely clear, and they've just rallied down it fast as they can towards this B bomb site. There's a lot of CTs here, but under-equipped and unexpecting of how many Ts are on the bomb site. Look at this massacre. Not a single casualty for MVP, and 2 men left up for GOSU.
I'd have given that kill almost for free, and now maybe a chance for Stacks to do a bit more damage. But other than that, you're not really expecting too much more here from GOSU. MVP might not have found success in the pistol round with that A play, but they've found success since then. Finally able to deal with Magic Stacks, and now that leaves Jinx in a 1v3. He's going to get away with the deagle and the armor at the very least. Takes that with him into the next round. MVP a second locked in. I do love that this MVP team is like a team that actually plays Nuke. I think that's something that's almost like a little bit surprising when you think about how high in their map pool this map is valued. But it makes sense, right? Because a lot of Asian teams do, neglect the more strategic maps. They lean in favor of the more, pug style maps. And it's definitely hard to pug a map like Nuke. So I think that's why, for MVP, one of the reasons why we see them be so successful, I think, is their dedication to trying to master this map.
Yeah.
I mean, you bought up, I believe it was it Star Series where they played, versus, I think it was VP, yeah. And obviously at the time, that was really the only map that VP could play.
Barely. Just about. They had their troubles areas, we know. Good damage outside early on from GOSU. They're down a man, but Zeph and Zion so heavily tagged, these pistols become far more dangerous. Solo's watching that yard, and there's so many CTs here still ready to pounce. The second MVP show their hand, and contact will be made through main. Solo going to be wrapping outside. There's the kill, and the bomb drop. Guns being given over to GOSU, but can they retrieve them? They certainly can. Kills still being found, and there's still 2 low HP players left up for MVP. Glow's going to get dinged down to 3 HP. This is so doable, and HSK showing us how. Another shot landing. He spots a second man. Glow's been picked up over in main, and it's all down to Zeph.
2 HP and a dream. And this, I don't know how this has gotten so out of hand, but it has. And they trade off of one another. Seok and Stacks peeking into that as a team. And a second round locked in from nowhere. That was just vanilla pistols and that one deagle and armor carried forward from the round prior. MVP going to be kicking themselves that they've given that one up.
Yeah, I have no idea how that happens. Unbelievable. 2-2. And MVP, they still got the money, but if they lose this round and this starts going against them, GOSU rather, are going to be so happy they won that USP round. Main smoke not connecting too well. It does cut off the line of sight from Jinx towards the hut, but he's got Squeaky under control, and Stacks brings his AWP down towards ramp. Locking down this part of the map for now, and outside not being a point of contention. HSK is just watching from back CT in the yard. Now the A execute. Molly's landing on top of the hut roof, and fast play coming in from MVP. They find the entry. Great flashbangs. Everyone on the CT side is fully blinded, and people getting shot through the smoke. HSK getting caught out in the Molotov, and Jinx is all that stands.
I mean, this is just MVP things, right? I mean, they somehow lose a round to just the deagle. And then they annihilate absolutely everybody in this one, take an incredibly clean round. I mean, you'll see, even some of the best teams on this map struggle to keep a T-side round this impeccably clean. 4 players sitting up, and only Jinx remaining. He's looking to try and hold on the AK, because they will be double eco into the next regardless, so you imagine they force buy up around this.
It wasn't even just how clean it was how good the execute was, right? Everything that they threw in had a purpose. Those flashes, everyone was blind. That molly, it got a kill. The smokes cut off line of sight. It just, everything lined up perfectly there for MVP. Very ready for the setup on that A site from GOSU, and yeah, this is a great way to bounce back from that humiliation of the previous round.
we do at least get to see that force that we wanted to see from GOSU. HSK going to be the other man donning a weapon alongside Jinx. And, you know, we've already seen GOSU find rounds with less, but... Ooh. Okay. All right, Glow. Go right ahead. Just shoots him, spams him through the hut. Obviously, there used to be a window there, right? So the initial little kill being found early was never that surprising. But spamming someone through the wall certainly knows his lineup. Stacks. In with the Deeg, continuing to creep forward, quickly traded by Zeph. This time they're not keen on letting it get out of hand. And this does just leave the two rifle players standing for GOSU. They put a lot of weighting on Jinx and HSK at the start of this round, and now we have to see exactly why that is, as these two really do have to step up and show their worth. Bomb going to be heading down towards ramp. Currently, GOSU with no information on that fact, so they will be playing a very reactive style of Counter-Strike. Going to be grouping up inside of this A-bomb site, and when they hear that bomb getting punched in, I'm curious if we're going to see them rotate down at all.
Yeah, they might just hold on to these guns for yet another round. MVP very, very well grouped up, and that was another thing on the T side of Mirage that was so strong, right? They were always able to trade on those executes, never really sending more than one lurk player. So fourth round taken on this T side, strong start to it, considering it's their map pick as well. You would expect that. HSK is already running off with this AUG, and MVP won't be able to stop him for now, so these two guns should get saved in theory. But it's not like GOSU have a lot of money behind them, so it will be 3 flat pistols on those other players.
Another eco though, I mean, this is really allowing MVP to build up such a strong start on a map that we already know they're huge favorites on. They're even going to go ahead and call in a tactical pause here, a little bit of time to try and mull this one over, make sure they don't make mistakes of old, you know, risk losing to this very weak buy over on the side of GOSU. But a good start from HSK. But still waiting for anyone else to really explode into this game. You really now need as many rounds as you can get at this point in time if it goes to over on the CT side. 5 rounds is like considered to be a pretty decent T side over on Nuke. And already MVP looking like they should reach that quota with little to no problem in the opening segments of this first half. Certainly doesn't inspire too much confidence in the comeback for GOSU, but I always like to believe in the underdog story. Jinx here outside with this one rifle, and he's managed the double as he tries to turn the tide of battle in this round. MVP not wanting to make mistakes of old. They turn away from this outside portion of the map. But what this allows Lakia and Stacks to do is try and retrieve some of these weapons, try and build a bit of an armory up for the GOSU guys. Seok even now going to go to grab himself a gun as well. There are 3 down outside if you include the one that was dropped by HSK. So everyone's got something to work with. But there's the man advantage reclaimed as Zeta is able to trade back into a 3-on-3.
Yeah, that bomb took so long to get into the site, but it was actually a blessing in disguise. GOSU didn't know that MVP were committed towards A. Went in for the peek to their own death. There's a spot. Zine sees a man in heaven. Won't force the kill. That bomb will go down for MVP.
Bomb has been planted.
And Jinx, now he's got to come back in from heaven. He does have that double main split, but Zine's already cut him down, so it is the 2-pronged attack left up from the front of A. Solo's already dispatched of 1. And I think that will guarantee a round for MVP at this point. Seok has moved away to try and hold on to this AUG. Because if you look at the money from GOSU, far from perfect. They wouldn't mind an extra weapon to bolster their buy. as expected, Harry. 5 rounds from MVP. Got a bit dicey in the yard, thanks to Jinx there, but it will get contained well by MVP. That's the issue. When you have 1 or 2 rifles into that round, and even if that rifle goes off and gets 2 kills, on a map like Nuke, you can just divert. You can just go somewhere else and go down ramp or into it. Oh, can't even speak. I've got a cough.
Yeah,
or into A.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of the old flu going around these last few days. I think Jason Kaplan was patient 0. I think he gets bestowed with that title.
Yeah, it's gone over to our talent manager Declan.
And he interacts with absolutely everyone. So if you wonder why the noses get a bit stuffy over the next few days, maybe that's why. Not helped, of course, by the fact that old Katowice is pretty cold this time of year.
Yeah.
Winters in Poland aren't known for being incredibly kind. That's why I'm wearing very winter-appropriate attire right now.
Sure, that's the reason.
Got my shorts and flip-flops on. I'm wearing these every day out here.
Is that like the old Liquid shirt you're wearing as well? It's got Brazil, America.
Yeah, I mean,
it's even got Korea on it, actually.
Yeah, I know. That was kind of one of the reasons I was like, yeah, it's got a bit of representation for everything we're taking a look at today.
Yeah. I was going to question that, but yeah.
Yeah, it actually does.
I mean, it has UK.
Well, it's got a British flag, so we'll just cancel that one out, but...
Complexity have already made it, Harry. Fast play in the yard for MVP. They are down in the B site. GOSU just going to let them pass, but get no further. That smoke wards them off in the lower tunnels. Lakia is here. But as mentioned, this money from GOSU not pristine. So no utility left apart from a single HE grenade, and Lakia's got a lot to do with only an MP5. Hopping around, waiting for that push to come through. 30 seconds, so they've really got to go for it. And HSK might be able to drop one man in the yard. There it is. Lakia now got to deal with the full brunt of this T-side push and getting into the corner. Nice off angle. They might not check it. They might not be ready for it, but he needs more than one if he really wants to make this worth his while. 15 seconds. This bomb has to go down.
And it still hasn't even crossed into the site. They're running a very big risk of this bomb getting found. They leave it down to the wire, but now plugging the numbers in just in the nick of time for MVP. Seok, Stacks, and Jinx are remaining. Seok's already gone through that smoke, and he does blindside Glow, but the trade promptly found by Zeph, who's on a tear right now. They say that this B-bomb site, rather, is his, and Jinx just has no choice but to back away. MVP, a 6th round guaranteed. And I mean, even there, right, the fact that they're willing to leave it so close, so down to the wire, just shows you how comfortable MVP are in their ability to play this map.
Yeah. And the only utility they had left in that round, in that 10-second mark, was a smoke, a Molotov, and flashbangs. Smoke off the ramp, molly off the ramp, get the plant. They had everything they needed. So, yeah, very, very scary situation, of course, with it being on 10 seconds. And one hero play, one player on that B-bomb site dropping the bomb could have won them the round. So let's not pretend that was fully under the control of MVP. They were definitely held off by the utility down in B, thanks to Lakia, but it will only go so far, and it's the recovery that matters. So strong round from the T's, as 6-2 is the score, and again, pistols for GOSU. This money has been a total problem for them the entire map. We've rarely seen buy rounds here on this CT side. Been a bit of a back and forth one. It's 1AK or M4 rather out in the yard. That's Jinx. He's going to let them pass now. When will he decide to go through? When will he feel is the right time? He's going to let at least 4 men go. But Zet is still behind him, so got to be extremely cautious as Lakia gets dropped down towards B. Now it is really going to rely on this 1-yard player, but Jinx crossing slowly behind. Seok gets 2, in fact, and now Jinx on that big flank. The bomb's dropped. They're going to be focused on picking it up, and he does get into position, but the element of surprise will not catch them out. They've already found their way up the vent. Solo's holding on to the back as well. Great position from him, and 3 kills a man who has been struggling so far this series. He comes up clutch for MVP. 7-2. It was only pistols for GOSU, but here is where they've really got to make their mark.
And one of the things for me that I think, and one of the reasons why I think this MVP roster is the more successful out of these two, it is just the amount of experience you have on these players across multiple esports titles as well. It is something that, it is lacking over on this side of GOSU, at least in the same way. Obviously, MVP, 3-man core of this team, they've been together a long time. And they've also just been around in the overall esports scene a very long time, right? So they're good at building back into these games. Very rarely do you see their confidence get knocked to the point where, you know, they do just lose all that momentum and allow big comebacks to happen. And that's been something that's been a reoccurring problem for GOSU. I mean, you know, the way that you can always tell that these guys have been together a long time is James Banks is reminiscing about having played versus some of these guys. And that's like...
He was telling us, yeah.
You know, that's how you know that they've been playing this game a long time.
He's telling us he thought Solo was cheating when he first played him. I don't blame him. That guy was nuts. And hey, I'm
pretty sure they had like hacking in their name as well, like back then, the org that they were a part of or something, yeah. So, you know, like an interesting tactic, but it worked.
Mind games. But this round's a bit of a different story. GOSU have opened up for a change. Jinx gets spotted, does not want to overstep as he starts to get hunted down. Off angle taken, that's a great position for a 1, but with a man advantage, 1 might be all they need. 30 seconds left. MVP left in another late round scenario, have to bail themselves out. 2v4 as they try and hit this A site. And while GOSU weren't watching it, Zeta gives away his position, though he still drops a man up in the heaven, and Solo splitting through main as well. The vent rotation has got to try and find something, but Solo is locking down this site. Bomb planted, stacks in for the retake, and they know exactly where he's coming from. He is dead to rights. It's Solo again. 3 kills.
And like this has just been the incredible thing. MVP building in a rounds that really they have no business getting back into. And you'll note in every single one of these, there's always just been one guy with like 4 kills, 3 kills, just popping off for the team, making it happen. That round it was Solo. Previous round was Zeph who managed to get 4.
I think previous round it was Solo in the vents. We caught 3 rotation kills. Unless I skipped around mentally.
Maybe I skipped around. I was on about the B play where Zeph managed to get...
Oh yeah, no, that was 2 rounds prior.
Okay, so it was me who skipped around mentally. Yeah. But, you know, okay, it's been Solo, Zeph. We're back to back on big Solo frags. Are we going to get the Holy Trinity of Solo showdowns? Let's wait and see. This round already kick-started by Glow as he secured the early man advantage. Now, there isn't much brought up for GOSU here, so anything they can get going to be great, but Zeph certainly doesn't want to give anything up. Another man falling for GOSU, and now don't imagine they're going to throw anyone else into that meat grinder. It's really showing to be quite the choke point.
And so what they should do is push their hands underneath their rib cage, above their belly button.
Apply pressure.
Yeah.
And repeat until you dislodge the item. That's, I mean, well...
Good piece of advice.
That actually is decent advice. Not that I ever want anyone to be, like, relying on me in a choking scenario.
Yeah, it's like CPR. Like, you hope you don't have to use it, but it's nice to know.
Well, especially in, you know, the... You know, I mean, my worry would always be that, like, if I do CPR and so on, I, like, break a rib and then they sue me.
No, that's the American way.
I mean, I think that actually did happen there not too long ago, I believe. So, I mean, that just sounds terrifying. Imagine that. You go out your way, you're like, yeah, I've just saved the guy's life. It's like, I'll see you in court. That's the first word out of his mouth when he gets up. Brilliant. Oh, that would be me just putting the food back in his mouth. Like, yep, nope, see ya.
I'm slightly disgruntled. Well, 9-2 here for MVP, trying to get this one back on the rails, and this is, well, a real ride for GOSU. They are getting mopped up quite cleanly. 2 AWPs, not the most common, but fast A execute will mean that this is definitely going to be an interesting buy for GOSU, a hard reaction round, but they started off with 2, and Lakey is still on the site as well. He lines up a double. Solo now alone, unsurprisingly so, but he's got to find 4.
Yeah, we mentioned how in a lot of these rounds we've had one player stepping up for MVP. Solo now, yeah, this was a lot to ask. As he falls, GOSU going to secure a 3rd round, but take a look at the money quickly over on the side of MVP. You have 2 players on 16,000, Zion with 13 grand. Glow and Zeph, you know, comparatively a lot worse off, but even then, you know, they've got plenty of cash. So buying down for MVP, not really going to be an issue here till the very end of this half. Tactical pause even called on in. They lose 1 round, but they're not content with that. GOSU, meanwhile, one thing they can look forward to at the very least is they keep that very, very clean, only losing 2 players there in that round.
And we had a couple of big standout players as well, right? That's something that we've had, as mentioned, many, many times for MVP. We've had Zef Golf, we've had Solo Golf, we've had Glow have his rounds. But GOSU have been pretty silent across the board, so it's nice to see these 2 guys on the A side both doubling up when these A executes have been so successful for MVP in the past. We need some more of that from GOSU if we want to see them bring this second map back, because they are facing a loss in this winners match.
Well, as we can hear, lots of utility, lots of shots raining through the smoke from Jinx. Very aware that MVP could have attempted the vent drop with that smoke falling the way that it did. They have not. Jinx now has to try and clear this B-bomb site just to make sure of that fact. And that's going to leave Lakia and Seok in a very tricky spot. Now Seok, he's good for one, and that's at least giving him a foothold to go pushing into the hut. Solo is there, posted up, ready and waiting. HSK in with the trade onto his old teammate.
Bomb has been planted.
Bomb goes down, but we're still sitting at a 3-on-3. MVP try and take the fight onto Stacks, and that is a decision they might come to regret, as now only Zef and a sign left up. Zef gets spotted there by HSK, so now they know the whereabouts of this man. They're even going to go as far as to eliminate him. Zayn, 1v3, time ticking down. He spots out the first. Ooh, and damage onto Jinx at that. So many players coming his way. He's holding his own, and now just 1 left to try and overthrow. He's already tagged him down to 5 HP. And Zayn, the hero of MVP, 10-3. As he cements that round, clutches it out. My goodness, nobody able to deal with one man.
That one man with 4 kills as well, Harry. I mean, that is, just as we were talking about it, how these individual plays have come up clutch for MVP every single time. They can win the 1vx's, they can get the multi-kills, and GOSU are going to get reset. Down to pistols again. This has just been a stellar performance from MVP on the second map, on their T side as well. Nuke definitely looking like the choice of them, if you weren't aware. Close smoke does allow for a vent dive, but it's a dive into lobby from the CT side. It's actually resulting in 2-1. Sense is going to get himself a kill, but guns have been picked up. The issue is this yard control is lackluster for GOSU, and as a result, the main splits come in.
Bomb has been planted.
No kit does mean that if they are going to go for this, they have to pick this pace up. Zef, ready and waiting. On the wrong angle right now, so maybe Seok's able to find something, and they do spot him. This is where the trade has to come in from Stacks, and indeed it will. They're able to maintain the man advantage for Solo and Glow. Their attention's divided. Jinx in with another, and it has to be another massive clutch, this time from Solo. He's able to find the first, but nothing more. Defuse is there. And there should be just enough time left for it. It's going to be close. It's going to be very close.
No.
And actually a little too close, as Solo is able to waste just enough time. If they get on that bomb even a millisecond earlier, then that would have been the round for GOSU, and that is such a shame. They think they've done everything. They think they've been able to upset in that round, and it gets stripped away from them.
Yeah, and Solo gets the 1 kill he needs, the first kill that delays that bomb plant, and 11 rounds. Seems like GOSU cannot catch a break. They may have had pistols, and yeah, it's great to bring it down to that kind of situation and get rid of all the enemies, etc. But it's not like they've impacted the money. It's last round of the half, and of course GOSU, they can only just buy up as well. Zeta already finding an entry kill into this one, and we've got yard control under MVP. They've already hit down that lower B bomb site. Glow has found himself a similar entry onto an aggressive Jinx in the outside. So 2 men down and a bomb site not under their control. Stacks will push up, and that is an unbelievable flick from Solo. 99 damage, but Solo finds the only kill needed, and even if he goes down here, this B site is still under the control of MVP.
Only Seok to try and deny this 12th round the way of MVP. He's not able to do so, and what a spectacle, what a half from the MVP guys. Already sitting 1-0 up in the series after winning out the map pick of GOSU here on Nuke. They're bringing the heat, they're laying down the pain. Will that continue in the second half? Find out after a really quick break.
Intel Extreme Masters is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, Acer Predator, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, HyperX, Bedway, and Pay Safeguard.
A strong first half for MVP over on their map, picking this winners game for Group B. It's looking like they have it in them to take this 2-0 victory and bounce all the way to the playoffs of the Asian Minor. But let's see if GOSU can pull back this recovery. We know some teams struggle with closing out games, so let's see if MVP will be one of them. Fast A play for GOSU in the pistol, and MVP playing almost for retake here. No one committed within the bomb site. It's solo in main and a man up in heaven. Now 5-on-5 retake on Nuke, not what is most common.
I literally have never seen this.
Yeah.
I've never seen a 5v5 retake on Nuke. So I'm intrigued to see how this one pans out. 3 players up in the heavens. You can already see Zeph. He's fallen back in a CT. That's because he's lining up these pop flashes. And they're perfect, but they don't check for Lakia. Oh, Zeta's there and just bails them out in the nick of time. And now Seok taking these close fights. He's going to fall as well. It's HSK in the blink of an eye. Left in the 1v4. Is able to find the first, but they're on that bomb. MVP, they're going to get it 13-3 as they find themselves the pistol around here on their CT side. And what a dominant retake that was.
That was completely purpose as well.
Yeah.
You know it was, right? They had no one committed within A, which is so rare to see. They already had a player in spawn with flashbangs. Who the hell buys flashbangs on CT side pistol? Nuke, no one. And MVP, they get right back into the bomb side. That's really nice to see. I've never seen.
I actually found that, I mean, and this is something that Asian teams are actually great for, is whenever they do, like, throw in something like that, teams, you know, I mean, like,
How do you prepare against that if you're a team?
Yeah, and not just that, right? But a lot of the kind of like one-off gimmicky rounds that we see, you know, these guys throw in, are then normally taken, adapted, worked with by, you know, European teams. You think about it, Ty Lu is sort of one of the trendsetters for how to play your CT side on Inferno. You know, they went with like a different style back when that map was, you know, before it was updated to what it is now, admittedly. But that was always one of the things, you know, I really enjoyed, is looking at how sometimes, you know, actually more often than you might think, we do see European and NA teams borrow little things from the Asian Counter-Strike scene.
The best part about that setup as well is it allows you to actually have so much more pressure on other parts of the map, like ramp and outside, which are also common pistol rush rounds.
And you imagine, right, if that push had come in towards that side, would have been, or inner rather, in towards that ramp, would have been a very different story. This round just going to be, for the most part, the mop-up from MVP.
The issue is that was a force for the T side, right? They put pistols and armor in and didn't get too much for it. 2 kills to their name. But 14 rounds against them, Harry, and we are starting to reach crunch time. GOSU having to eco for OT. Probably the best decision here, at least have one rifle round to play with. I mean, there's no good decision. You're facing a 14-3 scoreline. But, yeah, just smokes. Go for that yard play, try and get the bomb down if MVP allow it.
Well,
that's gone well.
Yeah, that certainly didn't go quite as well as GOSU would have hoped. Here towards outside, MVP managed to mop up that push. 15-3, map and series point here in the upper bracket for MVP. They're looking to try and cement that playoff spot. And right now, things are looking great for them to do so. Of course, they were one of the favorites to make it out and into the playoffs. So this kind of transpiring exactly as we might have expected. Of course, over in the opposite group, Hugo, we had Renegades versus Greyhound going on. Really saw Renegades move 1-0 up in this series after a 16-14 victory on Cash. So Hugo's going to be working on getting us a mainstream update while I focus on this first buy round for GOSU. Jinx able to open things up. Flash onto Zeta, has to follow up here, and he's not able to. Stacks plucks him from this round, and that will be this A bomb site taken for the side of GOSU.
Yeah, I don't want to count MVP out, though, because with Seok being so low and Solo checking the corner, he'll be able to pull back to a 2-on-2. Both players commit to the site here for GOSU, and a nice peek from Stacks, well timed, catches one. It's a trade from Glow that puts us into the 1v1, but the cross has already come through and he doesn't know about it. Left side of the site, HSK will win the duel and keep this game going for GOSU. The issue is, Harry, one player surviving. Luckily enough, they break the money for MVP themselves, so it's not clean for either team. GOSU just need 11 more rounds in a row, which seems like such a unattainable task. As well, an A-Stream update for you guys at home. 10-10 Renegades Greyhound, second map of Mirage, that being Greyhound's pick. So they're keeping things nice and close. That's a real rivalry.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we got domestic matchups on both streams, so...
There it is.
Here's the push outside from GOSU. Ooh. They really don't want to let this one get out of control, and they don't. They're able to mop it up nice and quick, thanks to Seok and Lakia finding the majority of those kills outside. 5 to 15 rather, but as you say, 10 rounds still required from GOSU. It's going to be a little while before we get two on board the hype train of this comeback happening. Buyers at least available once more for this T side, and unlike the previous round, they're able to keep things very, very clean in that one, which does mean they're now looking good. Obviously, they can't afford to lose even a single round, so you don't really need to worry about it too much once you've padded out your economy a tiny bit. Slater's got the AWP for MVP, and plenty of utility across the board. Once again, a fast outside push from GOSU, but this time it's into the moors of Solo, and they feed the beast. They feed the beast outside, and they forget about the one inside. It's Zeph on the double. Seok left in the 1v3. This bomb is down and out in the open. He's got to try and retrieve it, and the timing couldn't be worse. Glow peeks him from the heavens, and that will be a dominant 2-0 finish for MVP as they win this map out 16-5.
Yeah, great start there from MVP to this tournament, right? They take a nice convincing win to open things up and then follow up with a 2-0 victory over the likes of GOSU to make their way through into the playoffs of the Asian Minor. So a kind of expected result there in the sense of MVP making it out in first place of their group. They were the more expected team, I guess you could say, but I still think there's a chance for GOSU to bounce back. They already dispatched their opponents earlier on easily as well, so I think they should be coming out in second place, but really anything is to play for here. Obviously, we still have Greyhound Renegades going on